This is the SMOROBOT X2C1, and the most impressive thing I noticed right away is that it actually handles the floor, the walls, and the water line without me babysitting it or dealing with any cords. I drop it in, walk away, and my pool looks noticeably cleaner when I come back. I would put this in the cordless robotic pool cleaner category, and it is best for someone who wants a simple, reliable routine without an app or a bunch of settings getting in the way. If you have a fairly standard in-ground pool or a larger above-ground pool with straightforward walls and corners, this fits really well. It is meant for spaces up to around 2,500 square feet, and from what I have seen, that number is accurate if you are okay with a single full session for maintenance cleaning. The look and the build make a difference when you lift and carry it. It weighs about 19 pounds, which sounded heavy at first. In practice, the wide handle spreads the weight, and I do not strain when I lift it from the water. The body feels solid and sealed in a way that gives me confidence when I dunk it. The charging port has a rubberized cap that clicks into place, and I always double-check that seal before it goes into the pool. The filter basket loads from the top, which matters because I do not want to flip a wet robot over on the deck to reach a bottom tray. The basket is large, around 4 liters, so on normal days I do not need to empty it mid-cleaning. The status lights are easy to read in daylight, so I can tell what it is doing at a glance. Setup is about as simple as it gets. There is no assembly. I charged it, set it upright on a flat surface for a quick calibration, flipped the switch to pick a mode, and gently placed it in the water. A few seconds after it sinks, it wakes up and starts moving in a purposeful pattern. It does not wander aimlessly. If it meets a wall, it reacts and adjusts without fuss. I started in floor-only mode for my first run, then moved to the standard mode that handles floors, walls, and the water line once I trusted it. There is no wireless app, and there is no scheduled timer. That means I decide when to clean. I take it out, rinse the filter, top off the charge, and drop it in when I want it to run. For me, that predictability is a plus. One switch, 2 modes, that is it. The battery is a 7,800 mAh pack, and the runtime is solid. I consistently get around 2 hours, and sometimes closer to 2.5 hours when the pool is already in decent shape. The cleaning pace is steady rather than frantic. That actually helps because it lets the brushes and suction pull material without leaving trails. When the battery gets low, it does something very smart. It parks itself along the nearest wall, so I do not have to go fishing blindly. I use the included retrieval hook on my standard pool pole and it comes right up. That little detail saves my back. Performance is where it won me over. The suction is rated at around 3,300 gallons per hour. Numbers only matter if they translate to real cleaning, and here they do. I see leaves, seed pods, sand, and fine silt get pulled into the basket on the first pass. The twin brush rollers are not just for show. On my plaster pool, they loosen grime and sunscreen haze along the water line that I normally have to scrub. The wall climbing is confident on straight walls. It drives up, hangs near the surface, and traverses that waterline ring before backing down and moving to the next section. If your pool has dramatic curves or steeply sloped transitions, it may think about it for a second or two. I noticed a few areas in my pool where the walls roll into the floor with more than about 15 degrees of slope, and the robot would pause to decide if it could make the climb. Sometimes it backed off and took a different angle. On standard straight walls and 90-degree corners, it behaves exactly like I want. The navigation feels smart because it is using artificial intelligence to map and plan. I saw it stop quietly at the bottom a couple of times during a run, and the first time that happened I assumed it had stalled. Then it took off again along a new line. Those little thinking pauses are part of how it recalibrates. I've never had to rescue it from being stuck, and that alone separates it from older models I have used. I tested it during a windy week when the pool was littered with oak leaves and grit. I set it to standard mode and came back just past the 2-hour mark. The floor had those crisp, clean tracks, the steps had less debris along the edges, and the water line looked noticeably better. I popped the lid and the basket was full of fine dust, hair, small pebbles, and a surprising amount of sand. Rinsing the filter takes me less than 2 minutes with a hose. The only hiccup is the latch. You do not want to yank straight up. A gentle pull and lift at an angle works. If you force it, you could stress the lid. Once you know the motion, it is easy. On another day, I ran floor-only mode right after a pool party with sunscreen and snack crumbs floating around. The robot focused on the bottom and finished faster than a full wall session. The waterline still needed a quick manual wipe in a couple of stubborn spots, but the bulk of the dirty work was handled. I also tried it after mowing, when grass clippings blew across the deck. It picked up the floating fragments once they sank, and I did not have to bring out the manual vacuum. There are a few user habits that help. I always make sure the charging port cap is fully seated before putting it in. I place it flat on the deck for a moment so the sensors settle before each session. And I give the filter a thorough rinse after every run, especially if I saw a lot of pollen or fine dust in the water. That keeps suction strong. I also learned that it will not clean the top of step treads perfectly. That is normal for most robots, and I address steps with a quick brush once a week. One specific use case where it shines for me is weekly maintenance between larger cleanups. I run the standard mode for a full session at the start of the weekend, so the walls and waterline get attention. Midweek, I use floor-only mode when I see pockets of sand or leaf bits. With that routine, I rarely pull out the manual vacuum. The pool stays swim-ready, and I spend more time actually swimming than maintaining. The clever features that matter most are the mapped navigation using artificial intelligence, the ability to climb and scrub the waterline, the auto park when the battery gets low, and the large top-loading basket. The cordless design also changes how easy it is to live with. There is no floating cable to tangle, and no risk of a cord snagging on a ladder. The simplicity of the controls is part of the appeal. There is no wireless connection, and there are no cloud accounts to worry about. If you love scheduling cleanings from an app, this is not that product. If you want to press a physical switch and walk away, this is perfect. A few limitations to keep in mind. Irregular shapes and very steep slopes can challenge it. It will still clean, but it may spend more time probing those angles. There is no weekly timer or scheduling, so you handle the routine. The debris latch wants a gentle hand, and at 19 pounds it is not featherlight, though the handle makes it manageable. None of these have been deal breakers for me, and the payoff in time saved is real. Overall, I would recommend the SMOROBOT X2C1 to pool owners who want a dependable, no-nonsense cleaning companion that does the heavy lifting on its own. If your pool has fairly standard geometry and you care more about the pool being clean than about tinkering with settings in an app, this is a strong fit. If your pool is full of unusual curves or you want advanced scheduling and smart home control, you may want to look elsewhere. For me, the combination of solid battery life, consistent cleaning performance, smart navigation, and easy maintenance makes this a cleaner I trust and actually use. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and drop a comment with your questions or your own experience. Thank you for watching.